There are a lot of very interesting fights to make after UFC 317, Topuria versus Oliveira, and today I want to go through all of the fights that interest me from the main card, maybe throw in a prelim there, and just talk about what is next for these fighters and what I think should happen. If you're new around here, make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out. We're going to be more consistent. We're going to on that grind for UFC content. Now, let's just get right into it. In the main event, Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira. He did. He knocked him out bad. He's the greatest fighter we've ever seen, probably. That's all I'm saying. Now, after the fight, they called Paddy Pimblett into the cage. Joe Rogan, what are you doing? He was also calling out Armin. He was calling out everyone in the crowd. It was kind of fire. They showed Gaethje, they showed Armin, they showed Paddy. They brought Paddy into the cage because it's the biggest fight, let's be honest. And it was very entertaining. But I don't think Paddy deserves it. And even Dana White, I believe, said, yeah, I don't know why Paddy was in the cage. I don't know. Joe Rogan's an instigator. And he also said Armin missed weight, and that's why he pulled out a 311, which is crazy. They never even admitted that until now. They're not giving the title shot to either of them. And, oh my God, Gaethje is up there. Gaethje does not deserve a title shot. He's beat Rafael Fiziev. That's all he's done in his last couple fights. What needs to happen is you need to book Paddy versus Armin, or Paddy versus Gaethje, or Armin versus Gaethje. Whoever says yes, get them in there. Number one contenders fight. The fight I would root for is Paddy versus Armin. I think Paddy's so down. I think he's game. I think Paddy's a beast. Paddy versus Armin. Number one contenders fight. Winner of that is going to take on Ilia Topuria for the lightweight belt. It's going to be a huge fight. I think Ilia beats Paddy. I think he beats Armin. I think he beats Justin Gaethje. And I'd probably lean Armin to beat Paddy if they fought. And I'd also definitely lean Armin to beat Gaethje. And I'd lean Paddy to beat Gaethje. So it's just like a Ilia versus Paddy or Armin. And as for Charles Oliveira, man, he got knocked out bad. You know, it was only a one-round fight. He got beat up pretty bad, though. I think he'll need some time off. And someone on a similar schedule to him, which makes sense. They're fighting next month. We have Max Holloway taking on Dustin Poirier for the BMF belt. Now, I think win or lose, the next fight to make is Charles Oliveira versus Max Holloway. Do it, right? Max is a lightweight now. I think Max will probably beat Dustin in that retirement fight. And if he does, that gives you even more reason to do Charles versus Max. Now, I think the only problem is that it is going to be for the BMF belt. And does Charles deserve a BMF status? Maybe not. But that is such a fan-friendly banger of a fight. And if Charles wins, you know, oh, he's still up there for championship level competition. If he loses, you realize, oh, he's kind of cooked. Done for. So, I think you do Max versus Charles Oliveira. I know they fought in the past. I believe Max won due to esophagus injury. That was back when Charles was known more of a quitter. I think you book this fight. I think it's no-brainer. I think that's a banger fight. Okay, moving on. Alexandre Pantoja defeated Kai Kara-France by third-round submission. And this is an obvious one. You book him versus Brandon Moreno. No, I'm just kidding. You do Alexander Pantoja versus the man who won in the featured fight, Joshua Van, the next champion. Now, on paper, I don't know. Does Joshua Van beat Pantoja? It's very debatable. It's questionable. It's scary. I'll be rooting for Joshua Van. I like Pantoja. I'm rooting for Joshua Van. He is one of the most fun fighters we have seen in the sport. He just swings. He fights down and swings. That's going to be a banger fight. They brought Van into the cage. They had a face-off. There were boys in there. They said they deserved the fight. Let's see it. I think that's actually such a banger. A great co-main event to another pay-per-view. Honestly, just do like a fight night main event with a good undercard, and that's a banger. Like, I'll be tuning in to see my boy Joshua Van get his title shot. Super hyped. Yeah, also in the co-main event, we saw Brandon Royval lose. I think you just rebook him versus Manel Kape, probably. Now, this was tough because Kai Kara-France is on the table here to fight Manel Kape, which is something we've all wanted to see, and I think that is the best fight to make, but it doesn't make a lot of sense right now. You know, Kai is ranked pretty low. Just lost. I think you do Brandon Royval, Manel Kape. Get them back going. I actually think Manel Kape could win that fight. And then you do Kai Kara-France versus the winner of Tim Elliott, Kai Asakura, which is going to be Kai Asakura. So that's what I would do. But I also could see them doing Royval versus Kaya Sakura. And you know what? Let's do that. Brandon Royval, Kaya Sakura. Manel Cap, Kai Kara France. Does that work? I think that works. I'm going on the fly here. Next up, we had Beneil Dariush beat Hanato Money Moicano. I think you do Beneil Dariush versus Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson is flying up those rankings. He's been looking really good lately. He called for this fight in the past. Beneil Dariush didn't take a lot of damage in this fight. He got dropped like once. So let's get him back in there. He's going to want to be more active. He was out for a year. Grant Dawson needs a fight. Book this fight. Beneil Dariush is slow. I think Grant Dawson could actually win this fight. I was looking ahead of the rankings. I just don't know who Beneil really could fight ahead of him right now. I don't think you do like a Mateus Gamrot rematch. I think you got to do Gamrot versus Fiziev 2. Stuff like that. So, do Gamrot versus Grant Dawson. Not Gamrot. Dariush versus Grant Dawson. And for Money Moicano, God, I don't even know. I was looking, probably someone low in the rankings. But I was like, God, who is even below him that deserves it? Like, we've seen him destroy Benoit Saint Denis. I low-key think you do Money Moicano versus Michael Chandler, and whoever loses is just kind of done. Is that fair? Alright, moving on. We also saw Peyton Talbot come back and win. I think you do Peyton Talbot versus Adrian Yanez. He called for it. I think it makes sense. Actually a fun fight. Very winnable for Peyton Talbot, but also kind of dangerous. I also could see a world where they do Peyton Talbot versus Cody Garbrandt because that's like name value. And I think Peyton wins both of those matchups. Yeah, he called for this fight. I think he'd win. It would be a stand-up fight. They're both good on the feet, but I think we've seen Yanez's chin get cracked. I think Peyton could crack it. Also, we have Gregory Rodriguez. I was looking. He's outside of the rankings, but he has had really good performances. He had a good fight with Jared Cannonier, who is like a former title challenger. He knocked out Jack Hermansson, who's pretty good and just outside the rankings. I guess you just book him against like Abu Smagomedov. I don't know, get him back in the rankings, you know. If he wins, he's in the rankings, but that would be a tough fight for him. And the last fight I want to mention, Tracy Cortez beat Vivian Araujo, and I think you just book her versus Alexa Grasso. I do. I think Alexa Grasso is ranked like 3rd right now, and Cortez is going to be like 8th. I was looking at the rankings. I was like, no, none of these. That would be a very fun fight to watch. Subscribe.